Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Team Psycosmos, here to provide you with that positive, never give up, motivational energy, trying to help you manifest the lifestyle that you want so that you can live happy and free like a lot of other people that I know. So one of the reasons that we make these videos is to be able to share what's going on in the news or update you guys on what's going on in our lives or what we're seeing. As well as just share some overall wisdom and things that I've learned over the years. Not much to report today. I am going to make this kind of a shorter video today, but I did want to talk about a couple of things I saw. Specifically, I saw one quick thing. There was like a UFC fight with Conor McGregor, who's a very popular UFC fighter now. I did martial arts for about 7 or 8 years, so I do like to watch those every now and again. Maybe like once a year I'll watch a fight. I did not catch that fight, but I heard that Conor McGregor got injured, which is pretty interesting because, you know, generally speaking, he's known as a badass, and his foot got really effed up. So if you've not seen the footage, if you're squeamish, highly don't recommend that you check that out. Another thing that happened over this past weekend was there was a I think it was in England, in the UK, in Great Britain. There was a big sports thing. I'm really not a big sports guy. If I'm being really forward with you guys, I find a lot of sports generally a waste of time. I know that it's really fun for a lot of people, but I think people get too hung up and obsessed with like the individuals of who's playing what and et cetera, et cetera. And it's the same with like UFC as well. You know, I really appreciate the human physique. I appreciate the human body and what it's capable of doing. I appreciate all the hard work that those people put in, and I love that they have careers and passions that drive them. But for me personally, I think that there's better uses of my time where I could be reading or doing research rather than watching sports. However, the reason I'm bringing this particular incident up is because it started a lot of really racially motivated things where people are getting hurt over in that country. And I think, you know, as somebody who's actually worked in New York City before, they'll say a lot of people who are from the city or love the city will say that it's a great melting pot. And for most cases it is. I would have to agree. It is a really good melting pot. But it's very segregated. You have all the different things like Chinatown, or you have... Or you have like I don't remember specifically what it was, but there was a West Street that was mainly Hispanic and African American. And there's nothing wrong with people wanting to embrace their culture. But when I worked in New York City, that is when I experienced a high amount of racial profiling and racism compared to living in other parts of the United States. So I know that it is a melting pot, but I have a theory, and it's actually very heavily rooted in science and also history, where when you put a bunch of people with a bunch of different cultures, especially when they're in a metropolitan area like New York City, and some of those people don't have a lot of money, it causes people to be very aggravated by other people's skin color or culture, or it just basically being afraid of things they don't understand. So although I have to give props to New York City for being that way, I also think that it kind of induces a lot of those negative attributes. And I think that the UK is kind of getting to that point where they're so preoccupied. They're so preoccupied with this discussion of race and where people are coming from and immigration that a lot of people are really uncomfortable. And I'm not trying to make this like a specific racial thing. I don't I'm clearly very anti-racism. I don't believe if that racism is a good thing in any regard. But I do believe that people are more inclined to be comfortable with the cultures that they're from. And I don't think anybody from any culture or any background should be blamed for that. However, at the same time, I also think that when you force people to live alongside each other, where it's very difficult for people to want to embrace those types of changes, and they just want to be in the metropolitan area for the opportunities that present themselves all around them rather than being immersed in a bunch of different cultures, I do believe that causes division and anger, and it actually does fuel racism to some degree. I mean, I've seen some of the most racist things happen while being in New York City, and I've been to places all over the country. I've been to California, I've been to Florida, I've been to a lot of states on the East Coast, and I've been to a lot of the Midwest states. Haven't really explored too much of the West Coast, but like I said, I have been to California before. And I have to say, the racism in New York City is really, really underestimated. If you're not from New York City or you've never been there or whatever, you will get treated differently. And a lot of people call New Yorkers rude. It's a very honest stereotype. I actually had a wonderful conversation with one of my friends who's from the Bronx. I just talked with her yesterday. Actually, me and Rich and Dan all did, and we had a great conversation with her about this very topic. And she basically agreed with us on a lot of points where, the North is, especially in the city, it's very segregated. And people, have this kind of perception that it's not like a racist area because it's a liberal area. But it's actually pretty bad. I mean, in some cases. And I know from being in New York, that's the only place I've ever been called a cracker or a honky before. So the point I was trying to get at is I think that it's really bad what's happening right now in the UK. I think what's going on where people are basically targeting specific people because of the color of their skin is wrong, and that should never be a thing. But I also think we have to have more of an open, honest discussion with people of other races, including all races. And we need to discuss, hey, there's nothing wrong with liking my culture more than your culture, but let's just choose to respect each other's cultures and try to blend the lines and learn more about each other. It's shocking to a lot of people to find like the experiences that I've been in. I have a plethora of stories where I've been thrown into situations where I'm basically the only white person. And it's actually kind of fun for me because I get to experience something that I think a lot of people, whether they're white or not, don't get to experience. And that is emulsifying and immersing yourself in another culture, like completely. I've been to parties where I've been the only white guy and there's been like 30 people from the Middle East. And that was a big eye-opening experience for me, and I got to learn a lot of different cool things, like what my name meant in their culture and things of that nature. And I got to eat really good food. That's probably my favorite part. The food is phenomenal from a bunch of different cultures. So this video is kind of going on longer than I wanted to, but the point I wanted to get at is, basically racism is bad. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's basically the overall point. And I think pretty much anybody who's sane-minded would agree at this day and age. But and this isn't an argument against racism or anything, but I think we do also need to have an open conversation of, when we're trying to force people to live alongside each other, is that helping against racism or is that causing more racism? I think that it's a blend of both, but I think in certain parts where people are really jam-packed together, it definitely is the latter. I think people get really agitated when, and I don't even think it's a racial thing. I just think people use the race as an excuse to attack other people and criticize and make their own assumptions. So let me know if that makes sense to you guys. Maybe I'm dead wrong, and if you think so, please drop a comment down below. Tell me why I'm wrong. But make sure you comment and subscribe, like the video. I'm going to be making more videos like this all throughout the week. As always, we love you guys. Go check out our merch store, Patreon, Cash App, etc. Go check out our TikTok accounts and all those things. We're going to be trying to make a brand new TikTok account over probably the next week or so. We had a very busy weekend, but it was a lot of fun. We got to talk and we got to converse about all the things that we want to do moving forward with the team, as we always do. We got the hive mind going, the mega mind, the mastermind. That's from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Highly recommend that. So yeah, just let us know what you guys are feeling. As always, we love you guys. And if there's anything you guys ever need, let us know. Take care, guys. Bye.